that you can flee with your camel and get back to Medina, because there's still people there that will defend you if we lose. And even though the Prophet's been granted victory by Allah, Allah told him they would be given victory, he still allows them to do this, which is important because this is what they call in strategy a contingency plan. Right? This is a contingency plan, worst case scenario. And this is something to teach us about the nature of strategy, that you should think of the worst case scenarios and make plans for it, so you don't always expect things to come out how you want them. So he places that, and then the Muslims will rank here 313 men. They only have a handful of camels, right? And they actually took turns riding 3 to a camel, and they would take turns riding on these camels. And the Prophet rode with 3 on a camel. He didn't take his own camel. He was also, at this age, he's 55 now. And he's walking with them. And he said, when he was walking, he said, I'm in need of reward like all of you. And then the mushrikeen are here. So you have 1,000 of them lined up. Now another thing, there were also, very interestingly enough, there were some Bedouin here. There were 2 Bedouin here. And they're just hoping when it's all over they're going to get some booty. They're not taking sides. They're just, okay, here's something interesting. So they're waiting for this thing to happen. And they actually see angels fly over them on angelic horses. And one of them dies of a heart attack. And the other, when he was asked what happened, he said, we saw these flying creatures come over us with swords, and my companion couldn't take it. He died. Right? So they saw amazing things because they watched this whole thing. Now, what happens is there's wells in Badr. And there was a man there, Al-Hubab ibn al-Mundir, who was known for his sagacity. And the Prophet ﷺ suggests that they go to the first place of the well. And he asked him, again, a very important thing. There's a lot of lessons here. He asked him, is this your opinion, or is this harbun, wa makida, wa khuda? Is this from Allah, wahi, or is this strategy? And the Prophet said, he said, huwa harbun wa makida wa khida. It's just strategy. And he said, then we should do it this way. And he explained what they should do: cut the water source off from the Quraysh and pour sand in the wells and plug the wells up so that they can't get any water. And the Prophet says, you're right. And so he agrees to it. That's again mushawara. وَشَاوِرْهُمْ فِي الْأَمْرِ. Right? Take counsel from them. The Prophet was commanded to do that, to teach the Muslims. He doesn't need the opinions of others, but this is a teaching event, because his whole life is a lesson. إِنَّمَا بُعِثْتُ مُعَلِّمًا. Everything he does, there's a lesson in it. And so what happens then is very interesting thing. They sleep. Many of them actually have seminal emissions, the men. And they're distressed by this. They take it as a bad sign, because now they're in janaba. So Allah sends down a rain, and they actually can wash themselves, and then Allah reveals some verses and gives them a peaceful sleep. And they wake up completely refreshed, which is important, because you can imagine before a battle, you're not going to sleep, especially most of these people think this is death. They really, they're looking at death in front of them. So they have this sleep, this extraordinary event takes place, and then the Prophet sees the Quraysh coming over. Now the Quraysh, some of them have said, and don't forget, Abbas is amongst them, right? His own family, Aqil is there, Ibn Abi Talib, his uncle. 2 uncles of the Prophet are in this caravan. And they want to go back. They really don't want to fight. And then they get news from Abu Sufyan that the caravan's safe. So they literally say, let's leave it. And Utbah goes to Abu Jahl. And he says, I'll pay the ransom for Al-Hadrami, ibn al-Hadrami, the man who was killed. I'll pay his ransom, and let's just go. These are our cousins. We don't want to do this. Let's leave it to the other Arabs. He has enough enemies from the other Arabs. They'll take care of him. So they're saying, let's just get out of it. Abu Jahl, he says, you're a coward. Right? And this is his game again, push the same buttons. He knows his people. Now, Utbah, obviously, Utbah, remember, was not from the Mustahzi'in. This is Utbah ibn Rabi'ah. He's the one who went to the Prophet ﷺ and said, Ya akhana anta min khayrina wa min ansabina wa asharafina. You're our noble man. We just don't want you to curse our gods, make fun of us. What do you want? We'll give you wealth. We'll give you... This is Utbah. He was a sagacious person in his Jahiliyyah. He was known for a good opinion, and he didn't make fun of the Prophet ﷺ. But he was a Jahili. And so he went out with his people, and so they don't convince him. Now, what happens is, one of the Quraysh ride his horse out, and they've got several hundred. They have camels, horses. Most of them are wearing chainmail, right? And chainmail is important. Remember, chainmail is like better than a bulletproof vest. I mean, it's because they're fighting with swords, and a chainmail, the sword couldn't break the chainmail. And they have the helmets as well, so they're well protected. None of the Sahaba have chainmail. Right? So they're really exposed to arrows as well. And in fact, Al-Haritha, before the battle starts, Al-Haritha radiallahu anhu was a young boy. He was a young man, not a boy. But he was shot in the neck as he's drinking water from a well. And he's the first one that goes down. And his mother was distressed because she heard that he died before the battle started. She wanted to know if he was shaheed. She went and asked the Prophet, is he shaheed? Shaheed, and he told him he's not just shaheed, he's in the highest Jannah. And she said, khalas. She didn't mind. So, now what happens is, when he comes back, he sees that there's only a handful of people here. Right? There's only 300 of them, and he tells them they don't have anything. We've outnumbered them, and he's telling them all these things. Now Abu Jahl is convinced this is going to be a pushover. He tells them we're going to have a big festival. We're going to feast 3 nights. We're going to sacrifice camels. We're going to listen to the singers, and then people will remember Quraysh for this day. Right? So and this is when Allah says, "Izayyana lahum shaytan a'malahum wa qala la ghaliba lakum al-yawm." Right? Shaitan makes their actions appear good to them, and he told them, you can't be defeated today. And then he tells them, I'm your protector. Ana jarun lakum, I'm going to protect you. Right? And then when he sees the angels, he flees on his heels. Right? Inni ara ma la tarawun, I see what you don't see. He tells them, Inni akhafu Allah Rabbil Alameen, I fear Allah. And so the Prophet ﷺ he has a sleep, and then he's actually, Jibreel alayhi salam comes and tells him that the angels are there, 3,000 armed for war. So he's told that. Now you have to, really, these poor mushrikeen, right? I mean, they're all there in the ubbaha, it's pretty pathetic, actually. Because, I mean, this is haqq versus batil. This is it. This battle is so important because it is this is the essential reality of truth and falsehood. It's all in Badr. It's all there. One group fighting for Arab pride, for their qawmiyah, their tribalism, for glory to be remembered by poets, and the other group completely masakin, bereft, ready to die for the sake of Allah. They're not interested in the dunya. Now, Aswad from Makhzum rides ahead, and Hamza goes out, strikes him down. Right? So now this is the beginning. So what happens is, from this, Abu Jahl, right, Utbah steps out and gives challenge. And then his brother Shayba goes out, and his son Al-Walid. So here's 3 big men from Abdul Shams. These are Awlad Abdul Manaf. These are strong Qurayshi noblemen. And they go out, and then they call. Immediately the Ansar go out. They're ready to fight. They look at the Ansar and they say, Man antum, who are you? And they tell them, they said, no, we want akfa. We want people of our same stature. We don't have any quarrels with you. And so the Prophet ﷺ called, Ya Ubaidah, Ya Hamza, Ya Ali. So he calls, look at these people. Ubaidah is family. Hamza is family and Ali is family. These are all direct family members. So this is the Ahlul Bayt Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So they go out, and the three immediately, Hamza kills Shayba with one blow. Sayyidina Ali kills Al-Walid, the son of Shayba, and then Ubaidah radiallahu anhu and Utbah, each one strikes the other, and he loses his leg, Ubaidah radiallahu anhu, and Utbah, then Ali and Hamza attack them. Now at this point, they've just lost 3 of their noblest people. There's still 1,000 of them. There's only 312, or now there's 311 of the, and they have nothing. Some of them don't even have swords. So you can imagine the humiliation of these people seeing this. They're 3. And Hamza and Sayyidina Ali was a great warrior. Hamza was probably the greatest of the Qurayshi warriors. And so now the battle's about to break out. So what the Prophet does is he sets them all in rank. He actually has it before, but it actually takes place after the initial meeting. He sets them in rank like a soldier, and the Prophet's there in the front, and he has a arrow, and in one riwayah he has a habib, and he's going along like a soldier, a general with his soldiers. And this man Sawad is slightly out of rank, and he knocks him in his stomach to push him back in. And he says, Ya Rasulullah, الذي بعث بالحق قد أوجعتني. You hurt me. And he said, Anta adlun, you're just by your nature. Aqidni, let me take my retribution. So the Prophet ﷺ gave him his stick, and he, I mean, it's amazing, right before a battle. And he hugs him and kisses him. This is hard material to get through. He hugs him and kisses him, and the Prophet ﷺ says, why did you do that? He said, Ya Rasulullah, I'm looking at what I'm looking at. In other words, there's 1,000 people out there, and I'm about to die, and I want my last ahad with you that my skin touch your skin. So the battle begins, and the Prophet ﷺ's battle cry was, Ya Mansur Amit. Oh, one given victory, the Mansur from Allah. So this is a negation of self. You're not the Nasir. Allah is the Nasir. So this is it's pure Tawheed. It's an acceptance of the asbab, right? But it's a recognition that Allah is the Nasir. We're not doing anything. So, Ya Mansur Amit, do what you do, but know that you're Mansur. You're not the Nasir. Allah is the Nasir. So it's an incredible battle cry. And they go out, and there's only 14 of the Sahaba die in this battle. And the Quraysh are losing all of their leaders, right? Over 70 of these people are going to die, but they lose they see them dropping dead. Now, before the battle, the Prophet actually went out with some of his Sahaba, and he said, Umayyah will die here. Abu Jahl will die here. And he showed them the places where they were going to die, because he was actually shown in a dream what would happen to each one of them. And so he told them, and they all fell where he said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, naturally. So, anyway, Ukasha, another important thing is, his sword broke, and he went to the Prophet ﷺ, and the Prophet gave him a stick, and he said, fight with this. And he went out, and suddenly it was a sword, and that was one of the miracles of the Prophet ﷺ. And he kept that sword, which came to be known as Al-Aun by the Sahaba, the sword of divine help. And then the angels are coming. Now another thing, they felt the angels, and the kuffar felt them as well. right? And one of them was being chased and actually saw the head fall off from the unseen, right? So they were seeing some extraordinary things. Now, one of the things that happened is the brother, two of the young boys from the Aus and the Khazraj had heard about Abu Jahl, and they'd made an oath together. They were only like 16 years old. They made an oath that they would kill him. And so they asked Abdurrahman bin Auf where he was. And the reason they did it because they heard that he was the cruelest to the Prophet ﷺ. So they wanted for the Prophet ﷺ to kill him. And so he told them, and they went and they killed him, which was another tremendous humiliation. And actually in one riwayah it says that they mortally wounded him, but it was actually Ibn Mas'ud who struck the death blow to him. Right? So what happens then is when the Quraysh see, they're having the battle here, the Quraysh see all their leaders falling. And they said it was the day of Hamza as well, radiallahu anhu. Hamza was striking down people everywhere. And he was 57 years old. Right? 57. So they begin to flee, the Quraysh, because they're seeing all these leaders dropping, and it's like when an army loses its, they lose all their lieutenants and captains, and all you have is soldiers left. What are they going to do? Flee, because they're not trained strategically. They don't know what to do, so they all fled. Now, obviously, for the Muslims, this is a big sign from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And they've taken prisoners. And they begin to regroup, and they're looking, and they've lost some of, the Sahaba, 14 of them. And Ubaidah radiallahu anhu dies on the way back. He's still alive, but he dies on the way back. And what happens, interestingly enough, Ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu, they actually go look for Abu Jahl. And Ibn Mas'ud finds him. Now, Ibn Mas'ud he was about 4 foot 4 or 5. He was very, very small. And he was dark-skinned, and he was very insignificant in Mecca. He was a shepherd, not considered to be anyone of any significance. And here's Abu Jahl, the head of Bani Makhzum. And this very small man in his eyes, but giant in the eyes of Allah. And this is why the Prophet once, he climbed a date palm, and they showed his feet were so skinny, his legs, his calves, that some of the Sahaba were down below. They saw his calves, they started laughing. And the Prophet said, these are weightier than the mountain of Uhud with Allah. So he put his foot on Abu Jahl's neck, and he said, you've risen high, ya ra'i, you little shepherd, you've risen high. And he ajhazahu, just finished him off. So what happens now, Sa'ad ibn Mu'adh radiallahu anhu, Omar, they don't like these prisoners. Sa'ad wants to get rid of these characters, and Omar does too. And the Prophet notices that he's upset, because Sa'ad's been guarding the Prophet ﷺ with his sword. And he asked him, and he said, Sa'ad, it would seem that what they're doing is hateful in your eyes. And Sa'ad said, this is the first defeat Allah has inflicted on these mushrikeen, and I would rather see all these men slaughtered than left alive. Now, this was acceptable in the, even prior to Islam. This was an acceptable war practice that was practiced in all the ancient civilizations. And then Omar also says that. And Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, so the Prophet says, what do you say, Omar? And Omar says, Ya Rasulullah, let's show them we don't have any kinship with these people, and let's just kill them. Because if we let them live, they'll say, oh, there's still kinship bonds, and that's why they let them live. Let's show them that Islam severs this. These are our enemies. You kill Abbas, I'll kill, and he says he'll kill his relatives, and we'll get rid of, let Ali kill Aqil, and we'll take care of it. And then Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu says, Ya Rasulullah, this is your qawm. These are your people. He said, this is your family. And he said, maybe Allah will make these people become Muslim. And the Prophet ﷺ said, glory be to Allah. Subhanallah, الذي يجعل القلوب كما يشاء. منها يجعلها لينا. Some he makes them soft. ومنها يجعلها كالحجارة. And he said, Ya Abu Bakr, inni araka ka Ibrahim. You're like Ibrahim, who said that من تبعني فمن تبعني فإنه مني ومن عصاني أنت غفور رحيم. أنت غفور رحيم. Whoever follows me is from me. And if they disobey me, you are merciful and compassionate. In other words, he doesn't want them to get punished. He wants them to be forgiven. And that's the way Abu Bakr was. So he said, you're like Ibrahim. And then he said, Ya Umar, inni araka ka Nuh. Where he says, Ya Rabbi, la tadharu min al-kafir, على الأرض من الكافرين ديارا. Don't even let one kafir be left on the earth. So he showed that they were both prophetic qualities. But Allah agreed with Umar and revealed the ayat that it wasn't appropriate for a prophet to take the prisoners until he slaughtered. Right? And so Allah actually came down with his jalal in that case. But because Allah had given them aman, because the Prophet ﷺ had given them aman, Allah did not tell him to kill them, but rather he told them that if there's any good in them, then they'll be guided. And so they begin to take them back, but there were two very important characters there, right? Nadir is one of them. And Nadir was one of the mustahzi'in. And if you remember, this man, Nadir ibn Harith, he was the one who got the qainat to sing the songs, and he would tell the stories of the Romans and the Persians, and he would make fun of the Prophet ﷺ. And the other one was Uqba ibn Abi Mu'ayt. And Uqba was the friend of Umayyah who actually spat in the face of the Prophet ﷺ. Both of these people were captured on that day, and they were put to death. Because the mustahzi'in were put to death, and they were put to death also. They were the only people that the Prophet told to kill in Mecca. Now another one, Suhail al-Amiri, was important. He was very eloquent. He was a poet, and he used to attack the Prophet ﷺ and the companions in Mecca. And he was also an Amiri. He was a leader of the Amiri clan. Omar said, if you're going to leave him alive, at least let me pull his teeth out so that he can't say anything anymore. And the Prophet ﷺ told him, you know, maybe something useful will come out of his mouth. And Suhail is the one, Allahu Akbar, who, when the Prophet said, ماذا تقول من أنا? Who do you say that I am? When he entered Mecca, it was Suhail al-Amri who said, أخ كريم ابن أخ كريم. Right? And those are immortal words. You're a generous, noble brother, the son of a noble brother. And he was also the one who prevented the mushrikeen from becoming, the Muslims after the Prophet died in Mecca, from leaving Islam. He was the one that stood up and gave the khutbah that's often attributed to Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, saying, whoever says the Prophet, whoever worships the Prophet knows that the Prophet has died. So he actually, he became a great Sahabi and fought in jihad and died in Sham. And there were a few other things that I wanted to mention. One of them was Mus'ab. Mus'ab was al-Abdari. He was from Abd-Dar. We have to stop. I know. I'm going to stop. Okay. Mus'ab was from Abd-Dar. He was given the flag of the Prophet ﷺ, and that's important because traditionally in Quraysh it was the clan of Abd-Dar that were given the banner in war. And this goes under the ayah which says, وَأْمِرْ بِالْعُرْفِ, command to tradition. So tradition is not always bad. The Prophet was honoring a tradition of his people there that did not go against Islam. Right? And so, I mean, there's many, many lessons in this great story. Finally, when the Prophet, also Bilal radiallahu anhu, Abdurrahman ibn Auf had chain mail. And he was carrying this chain mail. This was booty because the Prophet said before the battle, whoever kills anybody has his salab. He can take what he has on him as booty. And when they begin to argue over it, Allah revealed that it was for Allah and His Messenger. But Abdurrahman is carrying it, and he sees Umayyah bin Khalaf, who fell off his horse, and he can't move. And so he says to him, Abdurrahman, he calls him over amongst the dead. He said, Ajirni, take me as protect me so they don't kill me. They were friends in Jahiliyyah. And so Abdurrahman sees him and has pity on him, and he says, all right. And he says, look, I'll give you better than that chainmail. Abdurrahman is, he's a tajir, radiallahu anhu. He's one of the 10 mubashirin bil Jannah. But he was a very practical person. And he looked at Umayyah bin Khalaf, and he looked at the chainmail, and he put down the chainmail, and he went and he took him. Bilal, Umayyah was the one who had tortured Bilal. So when Bilal sees him, he says, no, by Allah, I'll die if this enemy of Allah doesn't die. And he shouts on the top of his lungs, right? And Bilal has a great voice. All these people rush when they hear Umayyah ibn Khalaf. And Abdurrahman's there seeing all of them, and he's saying, looking at Umayyah and saying, I can't really do anything. And they did him in. And then Abdurrahman said years later, he said, Rahimahullah Bilal. May Allah have mercy on Bilal. I lost my prisoner and my ransom and my chainmail. So on their way back, they began to argue a little bit, some of the Sahaba, about the booty. And which is natural. I mean, these are human beings, and it's natural. And they were for Allah, but they're human beings. And so they did. And so Allah revealed يَسَلُونَكَ عَنِ الْأَنْفَالِ, right? And Allah says to say that the الْأَنْفَالُ لِلَّهِ وَلِلرَّسُولِ. They're for Allah and for the Messenger of Allah. And when they said that, they all immediately gave the booty to the Prophet ﷺ, and then he distributed it. So, Jazakumullah.